Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of Cross Street Classics. We are back at our 65 Mustang build. Our last video we did these pretty spiffy hubcaps, and since then we've been kind of just waiting for our air conditioning system to come in. And yesterday it finally arrived. Our UPS guy dropped this off for us, and I did open the box up. It was sounded awfully noisy in there when I opened it up. Some stuff was rattling around, but looked okay. So we are in towards the end of October, and I had ordered this on June 22nd. Quite the lead time for this with all the supply chain shortages and everything else. So we've been kind of idle with the car here for 2 or 3 weeks anyway. Nothing has really happened to it. So we're pretty excited to get this done. Once I get this in, I want to get the car aligned. I wanted to wait to get it aligned till all the weight was in the car. It's not a whole lot of weight, but it's enough to maybe make a difference. So we're going to work on this today. I'm going to get everything unpacked and laid up on a bench and just go through the parts list, make sure everything's there. And then I think we're going to start under the hood. I want to get the condenser in and the accumulator and the hose and stuff run while I have on the lift, and get the compressor on. So let's get this stuff all unpacked. All right, guys, so I got a lot of this stuff unpacked here. There's the hoses for it, the condenser, compressor bracket back there, accumulator bracket. This is a one of the switches here. I think it's what they call the trinary switch. We got this because the electric fan set up. Pressure switch wiring. There's the sand-in compressor right here. We're gonna leave it right there. And everything else is this is all stuff for the inside. This is the whole evaporator and heater blower housing, all the duct work. This is the replacement switch here. We went with the upgraded switches, and new glove box and some other stuff. So I'm gonna leave this stuff in the box just so it doesn't get messed up. We're gonna concentrate on the under the hood components for now. So we're gonna look at the instructions here. They look pretty in depth. Nice check off list of all the parts. So hopefully we have no issues with this. So we're gonna read through this later, but I want to get stuff under the hood mounted. So I know the first thing we got to do. I didn't put the whole front end on this car, the grill and stuff, because I knew I had to take it back out. So I know this hood latch assembly has to come out for sure. I'm thinking both the horns got to come off, or at least loose, to get this on. So we're going to get that off here and get this condenser mounted. So I got the condensing unit all together here. Got our fittings tightened down, got the O-rings in, a little bit of oil on them. Got the pressure switch in and the brackets on. So the next step in the instructions is to drill the holes in the core support for the lines to go through. Well, if you guys remember a bunch of videos ago, we changed the core support out. They tell you what to do in the instructions. So we have no idea where to put this at, so I'm going to put the condenser in and then go from there and get some holes drilled that way, since we have nothing to go by. So I'm going to take my time on this. I only have one shot at drilling a hole in the right spot. Alright guys, so I got my first hole laid out here. I just cut the hose, put the hose on and eyeballed it up, so it should be pretty darn close. We're going to find out here. So we're going to try this first. I think this will be fine. Okay, let's see how this one fits. I went ahead and put the O-ring on. And a little bit of oil on the fitting. Okay, we'll come back and tighten it up, but that's if it's pretty good. We'll come back, tighten the fitting up, and we'll put some weather stripping caulk inside there to close that hole up. So we're gonna lay out this next hole and get it drilled. All right, guys, so I got the other hole lined up and marked here. This was a little more tricky with the way the bend was, but should be right on. Well, we're gonna find out here. Let's drill it. Alright, so this one here is pretty good. Probably could have come up a little bit, maybe another 1/4 inch at the center, but it'll certainly work just fine. All right, guys, so we're back here next morning on this air conditioning project. I pulled the condenser back out. I wasn't happy with a couple things, and the way the pigtail come out of that pressure switch, there's about maybe 4 inches of wire on there, and I decided to just pull it back out, and I made a pretty long pigtail of some wires to extend up to the pressure switch and to the relay for the fan, because this is a trinary switch, so it's going to control the fan too when the pressures get up in the system. So I pulled it back out, made a harness for it, run a harness, put everything back together. So I've got everything back together to where it was when we started this. I still got to put the grill and the grill bars in, but I'm going to leave that off just in case we have a problem or something. So you can see it mounts real nice. This is a real nice system so far. It mounts good, utilizes the holes here in the hood latch support, 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom. So it looks nice and clean. You're not drilling any extra holes. Just these 2 here, but you know, you have to drill them anyway. So what I'm going to do now, I get these lines run. I'm going to mount the compressor next. I have it still up on the lift. If I need to get underneath there to do a few things, that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to get the compressor mounted and get on with that step. All right, guys, so we have the new compressor installed here. Wanted to point out, some of you may have noticed, I had this air conditioning bracket on with another compressor. This car did have a aftermarket air conditioning system installed years ago. There was all kind of issues with it, so it was just decided to replace the whole system. So yeah, I had this bracket and compressor left over from when we tore it down, and that's what I used to help get it running, because I needed to get the pulleys lined up to run the belts for the water pump and stuff. So we're putting the new compressor on. I left the old bracket on. The old bracket's the same as the new one, so there's no sense taking it back off. But we're going to get the alternator on now and get this part of it all buttoned up, and I want to get some of the hoses on. The one hose I can get on here, and then we're going to switch to the getting the box inside mounted and get that done. Then all we'll have is a bunch of wiring to do. So let's get the alternator on. All right, guys, so we got the compressor mounted here. I had to get a different alternator. The alternator was on this car. Wasn't a dual pulley alternator, and it was only a 40 amp. So I've kind of thought all along we have to put a little bit higher amp alternator on this anyway, with the the addition of the fuel injection, the electric power steering, and the air conditioning. So I got a new alternator for it, a dual pulley one, which is correct for this application. You can see the belt for the air conditioning compressor is driven off the water pump pulley and a crank, and then the alternator is driven off this other belt here, off of the air conditioning compressor. So everything lined up real nice once I got it all figured out what I needed to do. So got that all adjusted, belts are tensioned up, and got the wiring all kind of back squared here. This is my wiring I ran here for the it's going to be for the pressure switch and the fan, so we'll deal with that later. So I got the discharge line from the compressor on. Fits pretty nice. I just kind of tucked it in here between the air cleaner and the valve cover. Went over here and tighten up real nice. This is the line from the condenser to the evaporator. Going to figure out a route for it once I get the box mounted in the car. Anyway, so that's going to finish up underneath the hood here as far as what we can do until we get the box mounted, guys. Like I said, so far I'm real happy with the installation of this. All right, guys, so we got our car off the lift here. I removed the front seats just to make it easier to work under the dash. I am in no way or form very limber. So gives me a little more room to work under there, a little easier, save some aggravation. So we got the evaporator up, got it on the bench here, and you can see it. We'll be putting this up inside here pretty quick. A couple things we got to do first. They want you to install this block off here. This is where the fresh air intake was for the original unit. There was a collar that went up, and it kind of just like a foam collar set up against this. The only thing I don't like about this is they want you to put screws up in here. Now granted, they do give you this foam, and the screws go through that foam, but those screws go right up into the cowl where the water drainage is. I think it's a bad idea to put screws up in there because it has a potential to leak. Even though they put foam tape on, I just don't like that. These things are known for water getting in the cowl anyway and leaking into the floor, so we're not going to do that. So what I did here is I put some good heavy butyl tape on. This stuff sticks like no other. So we're going to put this up, and we won't have any holes inside. So I'm going to get that on here now, and then there's a clip we got to put on, and then we're going to get this unit in place. All right, guys, so we got the box all mounted in. Had a little bit of trouble with it. Had to remove some of the firewall insulation. So I removed some of it, and it fit right in there real nice. So got that in there, and then I don't get this bracket here. It's supposed to be down into these holes, but there's no way it's going to fit like that. So I put it on like that. So the next thing I was working on is this plate here for where all the lines go through the firewall. So what I did is I reamed these holes out a little bit. Just took my step bit, reamed them out a couple sizes up, and it fits on good. Well, once I got it on there, I noticed that these holes were kind of exposed. So I got some of my butyl again, and I took the butyl and I put a nice strip of butyl weather strip, windshield strip butyl on here. So that's gonna close it off nice, seal it up real good. We don't want any water getting in here. So we're gonna put this back on now with the butyl. So there we go. So that's gonna go on there nice. All the holes are sealed off. We'll put our couple little screws they give you in there. That'll give us a nice watertight seal. And then we'll take strip caulking later on and strip caulk all this around here to keep that from getting any water inside there. All right, you can see I got that mounted like that, and the sealant squished out real nice, so we should have no issue with water getting in there. And I also installed one of these. These are block-off plug. That's where the factory location was for the heater core hose. So the other one, we're gonna use it to put the heater control valve wiring harness through. So leave that one gonna go for now. Got a lot done here. I didn't do a lot of film, and I apologize. So we got our cover in, our block-off plate. We got our water lines run. Got the hot water valve in place here. Read the instructions. It's pretty clear. Got the wiring out through the firewall here for this control unit. And we got all the lines on too for the air conditioning. We got the line from the evaporator to the compressor on. Fit pretty nice. It's a little tight right here with, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of tight with the heater lines, heater core lines, and the AC lines, but the bends they give you just seem to be just right. And I got this line here on, running out across the shock tire brace, and just put a couple zip ties to hold it in place. So try to keep it as clean as I could. I mean, there's a lot going on under here. Yeah, for a 6-cylinder, There's a lot of stuff, a lot of hoses here with the air conditioning added on and the fuel injection. But I try to make it as clean as possible, but make it look as stock as possible. You know, they weren't real picky, you know, from the factory as far as stuff like that goes. But, you know, this is the way the water line ran. There was a bracket here on the original valve cover that held that in place, but with the chrome one, it doesn't have it. So we just did the best we could with that. And the lines here, you know, this is the line from the compressor over to the condenser, you know, round across. That's about all you can do with it, with the length of line they give you. These are all pre-made lines, and I kind of like that because you have to use what you have, and not try to make a route for it to go that would be just too much work. So we got that done. So now the next thing is going to be to run the ducting up from the unit to the defroster vents, and get the under the hood ones, get the under the dash ones installed for the face vents. So that's what we're going to do here next. Wanted to shoot some video here on the inside. Looks like I'm messing here right now, but we're under construction. So I want to show you guys, I mounted the control box for the unit right here on that bracket. It's a nice out of the way place, I think. Now there's relay here right next to it, and I got all the wiring run here except for these two wires. These two red wires got to go to ignition hot. Run this one duct over here for this passenger side, and got all the duct on for the driver side units. I still got to do one more here for the passenger side center one. One thing I wanted to mention too, I get this controller here. You can see how much more compact this thing is compared to the old one with the levers and stuff, and I think it's a lot nicer addition for this. Plus it'll give you some space underneath here, which we're gonna need. It's getting crowded under the dash of this thing. But yeah, so I'm gonna finish running these ducts. I got this one here to put on yet. These two center ones are going to go right here under the ashtray in the control. And I'm going to figure out how I'm going to mount this duct over to the other side, because we put this power steering in. It's electric power steering. I think it's going to take up some space for running the duct over, but we're going to revisit that here in a little bit. Other than that, it's going pretty good. Just getting crowded, and lost a lot of tedious stuff going on here with it. So we'll get back to work, and I'll give you another update. All right, guys. So we had to change the plan a little bit here with the vents because of the added electric power steering box under the dash. It was impossible to get the duct to run over to the left side of the dash where it was supposed to go. So I talked to the owner, Kurt, and told him I had an idea, and he said just go ahead and do it. You know, on the factory units for the 65 and 6s, they were under the dash anyway. All four of them, when the evaporator unit was right here. So I just kind of ran with that. I cut these two down and kind of joined them together just to make it look a little bit more factory. I think it works pretty good. Looks pretty nice too, and functions just as well. So these things here, you can aim them wherever you want to go. So I got the unit all in, got the controls all in. Works pretty nice. This is your fan control here. You can hear the compressor kick in. As you push down, it speeds up. This is your defrost, vents, and heater control. Right now it's on the face. Push it down a little bit there. Yep. Go up to the defrosters up here, blowing pretty good, and all the way down gives it the floor function. That's under here, and then it's your temperature control. This is cold all the way down to hot, so it kicks the compressor out then. So bring everything back up, compressor's kicked back on. But that's about it, guys, for this. I've got the grill installed here too, and the grill bar. I had to wait on that condenser to go in to get that done. So our next step is just to get this thing clean and detailed. I got an appointment to get it aligned here in a couple days, so I'm going to run down and get it aligned, and we're going to do some road testing with it. Make sure we have no problems before we give it back to Kurt. And that should be it. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, asking questions. We always like that. Try to answer them as quick as we can and as thorough as we can. So we'll see you next time. Thank you.